Sure.
Good evening, everyone. A very warm welcome to tonight's webinar. And on behalf of Bangladeshi General Practitioners Association of Australia, I'm Dr. Reshmi Sheli, Education Secretary of the BGPA, delighted to welcome you all to the webinar Roadmap to RACGP Exam, Your Guide, Your Plan, and Your Success. Before we begin, I would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet today across Australia. I pay my respect to the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people, to the elders past and present. Let's talk briefly about our organization, BGPA. The Bangladeshi General Practitioners Association of Australia is a national non-profit professional organization who are representing the general practitioners of Bangladeshi origin across Australia. Established and run by dedicated volunteer GPs, BGPAA is committed to advance the excellence in primary healthcare through education, training, mentorship, clinical support, and professional networking. BGPA works closely with the Royal Australian College of General Practitioners, RACGP, and the Australian College of Rural and Remote Medicine, ACRM, to support GP education, professional development, and maintenance of high standards in general practice. The organization also provides mentoring for the GP registrars, supports the international medical graduates, and opportunities for collaboration among general practice owners and healthcare professionals. So the BGPA organized tonight's webinar, which I'll come back again. So this webinar is about the beginning of your RACGP journey and preparing for your upcoming exams. So tonight's session will be designed to provide you practical guidance, effective preparation strategies, confidence to help you succeed. We are fortunate that we have three outstanding presenters tonight, who will be sharing their experience, their knowledge, and valuable tips. So let me introduce you to the presenters of tonight. So I have here Dr. Tasmia Mastur. She is a GP Registrar in Term 3, AGPT. She started her GP training in 2024, passed the AKT and KFP exam in 2026, and awaiting her results for the CCE. She is currently practicing at the Quakers Hill, Sydney. And then we have Dr. Nadira Zunaya Ara.
Jishan Ara.
Sorry, Jishan, is it?
Yes.
Jishan.
Sorry, Dr. Nadira Jishan Ara. She is an MBBS FRSC GP in the AGPT pathway. She started training in 2023 and passed all the exams in 2025. She is currently working in the Leppington. Then we have our last presenter, Dr. Rifat Ara Khan. She is MBBS FRSC GP in the AGPT pathway. She cleared her exams in 2021. She is also a diploma in childcare from University of Sydney in 2018. She is currently working in the southwestern Sydney as a GP, and she is also the GP supervisors for RACGP and Western Sydney University Medical School. So we have these valuable presenters tonight who are very fresh. They are in the training pathway and they are here to help you. So I will now hand over to our first presenter, Dr. Tasmia Mastur, to present.
Thank you, Rashmi Apu. Thank you so much. And thanks to the organization for giving me the opportunity to share my journey. So today's talk, I will be presenting about where I started, how I studied, and what I have to tell you. So my journey actually started in 2020 when I first got a job at Monash Hospital in Melbourne, and then I received my general registration over there in 2022, and then I started my AGPT training in 2024. I sat for my exam, AKT and KFP, in 2026, and I passed that exam, and now I'm waiting for the CCE. In short, the fellowship pathway, it has 3 exams. One is AKT, Applied Knowledge Test. Number 2 is KFP. We can sit together, AKT and KFP, that can be given together. And then after we pass AKT, KFP, then we'll be eligible for CCE. I'm going to talk about how I prepared for AKT and KFP. The main thing that worked for me, my study resources were GP Academy, which was a paid course, and it was very structured, and the curriculum was aligned to the RACGP exam. It was my main source of study, and I was very much involved in this study because it helped me a lot. Alongside of this GP Academy, I tried to study from RACGP, the SAPTs. That was very important for me as well because that was close to what the actual exam questions look like. And I also studied from the public reports. Those are the real exam questions, and that helped me a lot as well. And my another study resource was ChatGPT. I used it a lot, and it helped me in explaining concept where I was finding it hard to understand. And then it helped me in generating practice questions and clinical reasoning, and then again making some flowcharts whenever I felt like, okay, I need some visual to help me understand and remember the content. And how I studied for 5 months. It was very structured, and I had 3 study partners, but people can study by themselves as well. I was lucky that I got two other partners who were similar minded, and we studied together. And I was working part-time at that time. So I was working only 16 hours. And on the work days, I didn't study much. But on the non-work days, I aimed to study from 6 to 8 hours. I had monthly and sometimes weekly plan that was made ahead, and that was made in conjunction with my study partners. So we already knew how we were going to spend the next day, what we were going to study. So we had a very structured plan. And we focused on GP Academy, and we wanted to keep pace with the GP Academy. So we were always at the similar pace with GP Academy. So we were not lagging behind, and we started revising really, really early. So we studied for 5 months, but we started revising maybe when we had 2 months in hand. In my opinion, this is not about how much you study. It's about studying consistently and study in a smart way so that you can remember the main content. Making a realistic plan is very important. This will be my advice to the future examinees, that you should build your study schedule around your work commitment and your family commitments, and find your people, like a study partner, a study group that will help you, because if you can find someone who is similar minded, that will be very helpful. But you can also able to nail this exam if you study alone. And the most important thing that I feel like, it's important to protect your well-being. This is a tough journey, 5 months of study, very hard study. You need to look after yourself. If you need to take break, restart, and when you feel like it. But don't be afraid of taking 1 or 2 days of break. It's about consistent study, and it's a long time. It's a long journey. So you need to have that kind of energy in you. That was my main way of studying. But I'm happy to take questions if you have any extra questions, or if there is anything that I haven't covered. But this was very compact and concise scenario of about how I prepared my exam for. And that's it. And I think that was my AKT and KFP. Thank you.
Reshma, please introduce yourself. Now, Dr. Jishanara, if you can just talk about your clinical exam preparation, please. We'll take the question at the last.
Thank you, Sajid. So I would ask Dr. Nadira Jishanara is going to talk now. So she's going to start her explanation on her slides, please.
Is this visible?
Yes.
I can't see from here though, so not sure. Is it showing? But I will start talking now. Thank you, Reshmi Apo, Sajid Bhai. Thank you, BGP, for giving us the opportunity to talk through our CCE and whole like RCGP journey. So I was offered to talk about my CCE preparation. That's what I'm going to talk about tonight. So first of all, you literally have only 2 to 3 months time to prepare for your CCE after you passed your AKT-KP. So what I would suggest that you really use your time so that you can prepare yourself before the exam. So everyone, like when I did my AKT and KFP, my friends, my colleagues, everyone suggested, okay, just start studying right now because we don't have much time in our hand. But I didn't listen to them because my exam wasn't that good, so I wasn't sure if I would pass or not. So I delayed it until I got my result. And when I got my result, I passed. I had only 2 months time in my hand. I didn't have any study partner, so I wasn't sure what I should do now. And looking for a study partner took a while, another 2 weeks gone. So I started in a very limited time. So my first suggestion to all the candidates would be, when you have done your exam, doesn't matter how you have done it, start preparing for CCE. If you don't pass, that's fine. You can anytime go back to your AKT-KP, but it's better if you start for CCE now, so that you can utilize the whole 3 months. The thing is, for AKT-KP, you can read yourself, but for CCE, you need partners. Better to have 2 partners, or if you can at least get one, that still works, but you need to practice with someone. You don't need too much knowledge now, because you already have the knowledge from whatever you have learned for AKT-KP. If you have passed the exam, that means you have already those information with you. Your knowledge is very fresh because you just passed. So you have to practice like how you can produce those information within a short, period of time that was given to you, like 8 to 10 minutes time. Okay, now how you find your study partners. You already may have some study partners from the AKT-KP. You can just carry on with them. The girl I was reading with, the doctor I was reading with, she didn't prepare for CC with me. So I had to look for them again in my surrounding, but I couldn't find anyone. Finally, I had to post to a Facebook group, and I was able to get a couple of study partners from the Facebook group. So those are the options you have. If you can also look at your own practice. You may have some person preparing for the same exam that you don't know. So ask everyone. Even you can ask us if you don't have any partner at the moment, so that we can help you to find someone. Then how you start studying? You do have, you can use some study materials to prepare for it. Suppose there's RACGP information resources or some paid courses. I did not include the website details here in my slide, but I'm happy to share later sometime if needed. There is a link where you can directly go to the RACGP cases. I guess there are 16 cases at that time when I was preparing. I'm not sure, probably it's more now. When you pass your exam, are you still not willing to, like an AKT-KP, but you are not willing to buy your paid courses yet, you can start studying those RACGP courses. At least start looking at the videos. That will still help you. There are lots of information in there and very good resources, I would say. So if you start looking at that, at least you should have some idea. Then when you pass, I would suggest you should, it's better to have some paid courses. Like I did GP Academy. I'm not sure if there are any other paid courses available at this time, but the good thing that you can get from the paid courses are you have lots of cases in the paid courses. If you practice those, you don't have to look for any other resources. Like the doctors that were studying with me, they suggested me lots of old RACGP books, blah, 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 more information. But literally, I wasn't able to touch any of those because I didn't have much time after doing the RACGP cases and the GP Academy. Those are the 2 resources I have used. If you want to use something more, if you have time, go for, no problem with that. Now, how you utilize these 3 months, whether you just keep reading and you finish your all the study materials and then you start revising, or you read and you practice and you revise, how you do it. When I was preparing for AKT and KAP, my medical educator gave me a very good suggestion, which was a game changer for me, to be honest. I like that idea. I use that for AKT KAP, but I have also used that for my CCE. That was like he told me, if you are planning to finish the whole course and then you're planning to revise, you will forget what you have written in the past, what you have written at the beginning. So what you do, you fix a day of the week when you will revise what you have studied the whole week. Fix a couple of days in a month when you revise what you have studied the whole month. It worked for me so well that I was able to revise some of the cases twice and some of the cases 3 times before my exam. So I think this approach is really, really well. Until you have something smarter, then definitely you go for it. That's all about it, I guess. Now, okay, the last thing probably I would say that whether sometimes people ask us like whether we should do the exam straight away after the KTKP or you delay it until the next term. I would never suggest to delay it until next time unless you really have something going on in your life at the moment. Because when you pass the KTKB, when you prepare for it, you have so fresh knowledge and information in your brain and the flow of the study. If you keep going with that, it's easier to pass. You don't need much to study for the CCE. All you need is the practice. At least if you can practice 1 or 2 cases daily, that is good enough to pass your exam. And now we also have something in our life, like we can't practice every day. We have growing families, we have to work. So do as much as you can. Don't be scared for the CCE. I know people can get performance anxiety because it's a face-to-face performance thing. It's not like a pen and paper thing that you do and tick the question and answer. But if you practice daily, you will be able to overcome those kind of performance anxiety as well. I think that's all about my CCE journey, and then I'll take the questions.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nadira Jishanara. It was really valuable tips and tricks about passing the CCE part of the RACGP fellowship exam. I was actually recapping my experience, but I was back in 2011. So I'm guessing that so much have changed now, and you guys are much more smarter to prepare yourself for the exam. And thank you for sharing your views. So I will now go to Dr. Rifat Arakan, who is MBBS and FRSCGP and also a GP supervisor for the RACGP. So I would now invite Dr. Rifat Arakan to present her views. Thank you.
Can you hear us, please? Please unmute and join.
I'm trying to unmute myself. Are you able to hear me?
We can hear now. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Let's start my PowerPoint. Is it clear?
Just need to share it on the bottom. Share.
Yes. Let me have a look again. Yes.
Yeah, we can see it now.
You can see
you.
that?
Yeah,
excellent. Yeah. And is it okay? Are you able to see now?
Yeah, you can start.
Yes, amazing. Thank you. I would like to convey my sincere thanks to BGPA for allowing me to present for today's session. And a Sydney-based GP. My name is Rifat Ara Khan, working around Western Sydney as a full-time general practitioner, working as a GP supervisor for RACGP for the last 1.5 years, and GP supervisors for medical student for Western Sydney University. I'll be very brief, and I probably will present with respect to supervisor's point of view, how as a registrar you should prepare for both AKT, KFP, and clinical examination. Now, and my slides are really informal, so I would just begin with this. And this photo actually reminds me of my journey to set my footprints in Aussie land. The struggle hasn't been easy. It hasn't been easy for anybody, and not for me as well. But what helps us to get through the journey is to be focused, put some energy in, enthusiasm, and our knowledge to carry us through as well. Now, when we're preparing for this webinar, Dr. Sajid Bhaiya told me, make sure you have some human touch to it. So the candidates who are observing this webinar can relate and it can be relevant to them. So obviously to do that, I need to go through a few of the journey of mine to let you know how we get into the training as well. It would be very brief anyways. So I started my journey with AMC1 in a very difficult situation of my life, but managed to get it through. Then I did my AMC clinical, failed by 1 mark. So I was devastated, thrown out of the track for a while. But this little sentence I used to see almost every day that could get me back in the track, and as a medical doctor, and we need to keep ourselves boosted whenever we fail or whenever it is a struggling period that we will get through. Now, obviously, after have done with the AMC, the next struggle is to get yourself into the hospital system. That's another struggle. But anyhow, I managed to get myself into an intern position. And honestly, I knew from the very beginning that I wanted to do general practice. And I intentionally chosen the position because I know that at end of year 1 or PGY1, I will get into general registration. So that will get me into my GP training quite easily. And that exactly what had happened. I could get my first step into the general practice training in the first year while I was doing my internship. So there are different pathways of getting into the general practice. I will not get into that in detail, but I did my training through AGPT pathway. And because I had moratorium, so I had to choose the rural pathway, and I did it in the South Coast in New South Wales as well. Now, whenever a term one, because I know probably registrar from the different phases will watch this webinar later on as well. And often when I get the first term registrar, the question that we get, how do I start, and where to start from? So first 3 months is always a challenge because you're establishing yourself into an entire new system, specifically when you're coming from hospital perspective. Getting to know the practice, getting to know the patients as well, and the patient profiles, getting to know the colleague and the software, everything is new. So I think that usually takes around 2 to 3 months. I would suggest you not to take more than that. And at the same time, start looking into the preparation for the exams as well. Now, when I go through the RACGP resources, the college gives you enough information. There is something called RACGP exam toolkit. That is an extensive resource, and everything that you need to know about the exam is provided there. I think that is a very good probably standpoint where you can start your preparation from as well. It gives you enough idea about AKT, KFP, and as well clinical. There is something on the toolkit, exam toolkit you can find. This is called self-assessment grid, that gives you around 20 pages with common presentation in general practice. It is, I think, for a first term registrar, is a very good assessment on yourself to know yourself actually at the beginning, that how much you know about the general practice and what are the topics that usually commonly are presenting. And when you're preparing yourself at the very beginning in a systematic way, it also helps you to clear your exam easily as well. So these assessment grids, if you go through it, will probably take you, first few weeks to go through that as well. And my suggestion would be to discuss the reflection with your supervisor and make your study plan at the very beginning. So I've been doing this GP supervisorship for the last 1.5 years, and almost in first 4 weeks, fourth week, we usually sit down together with my registrar and we go through, their shortcomings. I tell them often, you need to know what you don't know at the very beginning to make sure that you've got a smooth journey in your general practice training. So a lot of the time, if you've done some of you may know about the GP training already through the AGPT pathway. There are different type of assessment that we do. Some of them are random case analysis. That's basically when you usually plan your have your weekly teaching sessions with your GP supervisor. You go through random cases and they usually break it down for you. This is excellent for preparation of your clinical exam. And I was even asking my registrar the other day as well, before when I was preparing for this webinar, that what do you think helps you most when I'm teaching you on a weekly basis? Has he specifically mentioned about this RCA? So you make sure that you do include that in your weekly teaching session. Have a proper plan with your supervisor about how you want to do it as well, because our main is to get you through this training very smoothly and confidently. So next is basically, I would talk about the study groups. I think few of the other candidates have mentioned as well. It is recommended. It is recommended. It provides accountability and structures. It keeps you focused as well. And then basically, you are not losing the track when there are difficult times and challenging time that comes in. Um, Another question sometimes I'm asked at where to find study partners. Usually, when you do, well, I'll talk about AGPT pathway because I've done my training through that and I'm also a supervisor with them as well. You've got RLO. They're basically liaison officer you can contact with and then find who is working alongside you along your region as well. And they can probably tie you up with them. From BGP AA, we are trying to probably establish a platform for most of the registrar. And if we are able to do that, obviously we would be able to offer you assistance around there as well. Now, I think CC exam, we have already mentioned a few of the important topics and how to prepare for them from the other doctor. But I think, as I've mentioned before, what I have seen, my registrar got most of the help is from the case discussions that we usually do. So do it mindfully. There are exam reports that are available in the website. Go through them, previous year's questions, go through them. That's really helpful. The next is resources, like what resources to try. So if I go back during my training time, it is around 4 years ago, I made sure that I was utilizing my time during my patient as my study time as well. And I was not hurrying at the beginning in the first term or even in the second term. I think through mid second term, I was doing half an hour patient. That really helped me because as we get to know the patient and the common presentation, it is easier to manage them probably in about 10 to 15 minutes, and then 15 minutes is left for you to go through the topics that you have just seen. And AJGP articles, checks, GP learning, and there are other websites which is listed in detail in the RACGP website. They are tremendously helpful in the preparation. So few take-home message, I'll be quickly wrapping it up at the moment, is start early. You may think about you have time later on, but I think if you make a solid plan at the beginning, when you're doing your community placement, that helps you more than anything else. And as I've mentioned, utilize your time at work. I will do it when I get home. There's so many other tasks are waiting for you at home as well. So I don't think that time will ever come when you are absolutely devoted into the studies. So I think your patient is your case for your exam as well. Study them well and that will help you the most. And another thing I've seen as well, and often that comes from the registrars as well, that they're not focusing on common topics. I mean, common thing commonly happens. There is a saying. So I think that is why it also comes in exams as well. So make sure we are focusing on the common presentation very well. We know the ins and out on the common presentation, so we are able to answer. Recently, I was talking to a few of the registrar who has attended the exam, and I was asking them, how was the topics? They said there was nothing that I don't know. It's my time management. Some of them said I couldn't, go through all the relevant topics, when I was preparing as well. So that's another important point as well. I mean, the practice that you're working, you might not be able to expose to most of the topics that the question will come from. So you need to know what are the system to cover. And again, college has enough resources around that. So make sure if you're not seeing a lot of skin patient, Aboriginal patient, you are including them in your, preparation time. Now, with regards to trial exam, very important. College offers you one. If you want to take it, it's absolutely amazing. SAPS, I think, has been spoken about it as well. It's again college resources that helps tremendously for AKT and KFP preparation. And as I've mentioned, for clinical exam, public exam reports are helpful. AI assistance, I didn't have to use it. That was not very popular during my time, but now I think ChatGPT is a wonderful resource you can utilize for your questions for AKT and KFP. Paid resources, yes, there are plenty if you have time, and the finances, absolutely, I would recommend that as well. And the last thing is believing yourself. And Again, I want to finish by saying one another point from Dr. Sajid Bhaiya when we were starting this journey to prepare for this webinar. He was mentioning there is a reason why we have chosen 3 female participants today, and for us the preparation is a bit challenging than our male counterpart. I'm not letting them down, but it's true. But what helps and is believing yourself, be patient and be persistent, perseverance and positivity, that will get through. We are here to help. Reach us out through the emails or through Sajid Bhaiya. We are happy to help you at any time. And I'll leave the floor open for question. And thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rifat Ara Khan. It was really, really nice and practical talk from you, from the GP supervisor, viewpoint. That will be very much helpful for our participants tonight. So thank you. Now, there are few questions. I think most of these questions that are sent from the audience probably already addressed, but I will just ask the first question here that someone asked, if I am in rural and on FSP, is the preparation time frame will be the same?
I think I'll answer the question for them. FSP is slightly different structure, and it's usually 3 years program. So I think the time frame is the same as the other participants said that prepare early. I think the same thing will happen. Rural has some disadvantages. Unfortunately, a lot of GPs has to work in the hospital also. So, and they're on call in there. Slightly different, but I think the preparation time and the preparation materials are the same. So I think start early and within your limits and means. Don't push yourself very hard that your health is in trouble. So make sure you make a balance and study within your means. But as everyone said, your clinic is a good resource to start studying. Don't wait for you go home and study. It never happens, and to some people it doesn't happen. So just use your clinic resources when you're in the clinic. Study as much as you can.
That's a good piece of advice. Now, there was another question. I think one of you might want to address this. Can we use AI in our preparations?
I'll take that. Yes, I think AI is wonderful. it helped me a lot. I used it a lot and extensively. There were a few concepts that topics that were very complex for me to understand, and I'm a very visual person, so I just asked AI to simplify this and maybe make a flowchart for me. Sometimes even I asked to create an image. And because it's a huge syllabus and you have to remember a lot of things, so that helped me, flowcharts, and then again tables, summaries, and I printed out all those things. And then I carry a file with me every day, still now when I go to work, even though I'm not sitting for KFP, Acadian KFP again, but I'm carrying all those things, and it helped me in CCE. So those tables and those summaries or the visual paper, everything, the pictorial, the diagram, everything helped me a lot. And this is very important. And I think AI can help you a lot in that regard.
Thank you so much, Dr. Tasmia Mastur. I think, in our times, there was no ChatGPT or AI. So nowadays, preparation for even the webinar or anything have become so much easier, isn't it?
It
Preparation
is.
for exam would be easier as well with flowcharts and diagrams and everything that AI can find out for you. So thank you. And there was another question about is it better to be in practice and prepare for CCE exam, or is it better to take a break and prepare?
I can answer that. I guess it's better to be in the practice and then prepare, because you will be doing the same thing in your exam that you see every day. And yeah, I mean, if you keep seeing the patient, and you'll find many things common in the exam. So if you just not working and trying to study, it doesn't work for CCE, because you don't have to study much. You have already studied that for AKTKP. Now it's time to like produce these things, like how you can explain those things in that 8 to 10 minutes time, how you communicate with your patient, how much sympathy you're showing them. That's most important for CCE, not your study or your knowledge. If you ask me to share my experience, my first day of, the CCE happens in 2 days. My first exam wasn't good at all. We do 4 cases during the first day. I wasn't able to manage my time. In 1 or 2 cases, I think I couldn't even reach to that point they were looking for. They probably wanted to talk about the sleep apnea, but I was going through something else. But what I did for all my cases, like I was just showing the empathy. I was asking my patient whether they have any question, whether they have understood, if they want me to talk about something. That communication, the level of communication I've showed with them, I think that has helped me to pass my exam, not what knowledge I had before I went for the exam. So I would never suggest you turn off your work just because you're appearing the exam. Yes, you can take a couple of weeks of just before the exam, utilize your annual leave for it so that you can practice more with your study partners. But you don't have to stop working for it. You can do it side by side. And I think
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, so that is really helpful. Thank you, Dr. Nadira. Yes, I think, during my time, preparation for this practical exam is really practical based. So there is no point just sitting at home and preparing yourself, rather prepare on the patient. It's very helpful. Thank you. There were some questions that we got in our question bank that we gonna just discuss briefly. So first question, looking back, when did you start serious preparation? And if you had to do it again, would you start earlier or later?
I'll take
Any
this.
one of you can answer, whoever
I'll take
is.
this. The second part of the question, if I had to do it again, I never want to do it again. It's a huge and difficult exam. I don't want to do it again. And looking back, I think 5 to 6 months of consistent study is enough, and it's a long time actually. And if you want to study more, I think you're gonna get bored and you're gonna lose the track. So not less than 5 months, but not more than 6 months. I prepared within 5 months, and I don't think I'm gonna change. I would have changed anything. I think the most important thing is showing up every day, studying consistently, and follow a realistic plan that matches to your lifestyle and your commitments and your work commitments and home commitments, everything, and learn from the mistakes. And maybe write it down or make a flow chart, whatever works for you. But you need to study every day. That's
Sure.
important.
Sure. So we can gather that about
Yeah,
5 to 6 months' time is the
it's
proper
enough.
time frame
Mm.
for preparation. Thank you. And the second question is, I think this will be a very important question for all of us, especially the women who is multitasking, managing family, work, and exam. As that, how did you structure your daily study time around your clinical work, or did you study every day, or do you block out specific days of the weeks closer to the exam? Or did you structurally do it from the very beginning of all these 5 months along?
I can answer that. I couldn't study every day. It wasn't possible. I don't think anyone can do it. So what we did, first of all, first you decide how many months you're going to study. As Tasmia said, 5 to 6 months will be enough for AKTKP, and I totally agree with that. And you need 2 to 3 months for the CCE. I was working part-time throughout the training period. So I tried to study the days when I wasn't working. I sent my kids to the daycare and I studied with my study partner. But sometimes you may be sick, your study partner may be sick, your family members may be sick. So even though if it's going up and down a bit, some week you couldn't study at all because the time didn't match with your study partner, that's okay. Don't stress out about it. If your study partner is able to not hammer the table, you read whatever you have read before, just revise that and start from the next week. So yeah, you keep in mind that, okay, you have to probably study almost 2 hours, 3 days a week or more than that. But if you can't do it some week, it's okay. Don't stress. Maybe next week you can do a bit of extra. But I would suggest that for AKTKP, because you need to cover a huge amount of resources. If you divide those like resources, okay, first month I'll read this much, second month I'll read this much, then it would be good to reach your target. And if you can't reach your target, leave that point and you jump to the next resource so that you can come back later and revise or finish the first one. That's how you can, go progress to your study.
Yeah, thank you. So it helps to have a like a daily routine of 2 to 3 hours, around 2 to 3 hours to study. So if you miss a day, you can compensate the next week. Right. So the next question, thank you. The next question is, what was your rough weekly time allocation, which you already answered actually. So we'll go to the following question. Which paid courses or resources like the GP exam or gold standard marmars or what others did you actually find worth the money, which felt like, or whether it felt like a waste of money if you get the resources, paid resources?
I'll answer that. I use GP Academy for AKTKFP and also for my clinical. AKTKFP was totally worth it. It was so hugely, like it has everything there. You just have to follow it. I was so happy with AKT and KFP with GP Academy, but CCE, I didn't find it is that much helpful, but it was still good. But I would definitely recommend GP Academy, and it was paid, but it was definitely not a waste. It was worth it.
How much was it for GP Academy?
GP Academy was, I think, AKTKP was close to 3,000, or I kind of forgot, by 25 to 3,000. It was like that.
5 to 3,000, I guess.
Yeah, it's almost 3,000. Yeah.
All of you have used that?
I did for both my AKTKP and CC.
Too.
It was really helpful. It's because you have so much information in one resource that you don't have to look for other resources. You don't have to go for other resources. If someone have time, they can go for the RACGP and other things. RACGP is very good. Like SAT is very good for AKT, but it's probably not enough for KFP. So I would suggest to go for GP Academy. The money was worth it.
Okay, thank you. That's very valuable to know that. Were there any free resources in the RACGP curriculum or GP Learning or John Murtag's resources that were good as the paid ones, or?
No, they are free. They're all free.
Yeah.
In RACGP, you can access it through GP Learning. Those are the ACPT questions, and also there are some modules, the clinical modules. You can do it if you get time. But as I said, 5 to 6 months it sounds like it's a lot of time, but it's actually not a lot of time because the study is you have to study a lot, so you will struggle with your time anyway. I don't think anybody will have that much of time to go through the learning modules, but you should definitely go to SAPTs.
Okay. And also, did you kept like flashcard apps, or considered taking notes by yourself, or used any pre-made?
No, I used my own notes. Because I had two other study partners, so you used to share the platform. So I used OneNote, where we used to write all the notes and everything, so everybody can see, and we can also access it from our phone. So I used that. Flashcard and other things that didn't work for me.
Anybody else want to answer that? Any other view?
If I can share my experience when I was preparing as well, I extensively used my notes as well. As I mentioned, when I was seeing the patient though, and I was utilizing that time, I used to see them for half an hour, but most of the time we used to finish, quickly, as probably through the second term. And then those leftover 10 or 15 minutes I used to go through RACGP, the AGGP articles, and the resources from the GP Learning, and make my own, probably not more than 4 to 5 line notes. And that really helped me at the very end, when only 1 month left to go through different important topics. And what I did when I used to make my notes, I used to make them system wise as well, like cardiovascular system, endocrine, and that sort, and the most important topics. So I think, and I sometimes still use it, like whenever I need to go through any important topics and I'm not able to remember a few things as well. So I think that really helps. Flashcard also, and everyone is different in their preparation as well. What I see in my registrar, they are doing, quite different. Probably flashcards, some of them they're using excellent, some of them making notes probably on their computers as well. But I am a bit of old fashioned. Hand notes work really well for me, but I think any personal notes are very, very helpful for the quick revision just before the exam.
Yeah. So they almost work like flashcards on your hands, isn't it? Your particular little notes, and it helps you all through your life. So there was like another question about, as you've been saying, all of you, that it's better to have study partner. It's suggested that it is the best scenario. How do you find a study partner or a group? And how do you find them, and whether it's really helpful to solo study or group study?
It depends. For AKTKP, if you don't have a study partner, it still works because you just have to rate. Some people like me who are comfortable doing that with a study partner, because I'm a very lazy person. If someone is not pushing me, I don't go for a study. That was my problem. So that's why I always try to study with someone, so that we can at least finish our courses. But some people, they're very comfortable reading alone. That's fine. AKTKP should be okay. But for CCE, I would strongly recommend you to get at least one partner so that you can practice daily. That is the must, I would say, for CCE. Sorry, Reshmi, what was the other part of the question?
The other part of the question is whether, you already answered that, whether solo study is better or group study is better. So I think most of you said that group study is better, right?
Yes, I think.
Yes, because one can push the other for preparation, yes, and laggings and stuff. So no, that is answered. Thank you.
I think she also asked candidate also asked for how you find a study partner. I was studying with the doctors that I already knew. They are Bangladeshi doctor. We started our journey together, training together. So I was studying with them. But I don't think it's really difficult to find a study partner because we have so many trainees nowadays around us. And as Dr. Rifat said, if you don't find someone around you, just ask your medical educator or RLO, Dr. Rifat, something, check with them. But look around you. There are some Facebook groups where you can post, as I found for my CCE. And then also just look for you. I mean, check if you have a colleague who is also preparing at the same time, and you can ask them to study with you if the time frame is matching. Yeah.
Right. So the best situation would be if there is a colleague in your practice who is also preparing for the exam. Otherwise, you can look, ask your GP supervisor or look online groups to find a partner. Yeah. So that's good. Thank you. I think we already discussed the ChatGPT and AI help. And there was another question. How many practice AKT questions or KFP cases did you aim to do per week? And did you track your weak areas systematically? Like find out your weaknesses systematically and prepare.
I'll take this. Yeah, there wasn't any limit as much as you can. Because GP Academy, each and every topic has so many questions, like 50. Some questions, some would have 50 to 60 to 70, and some would have like more than 100 or more than 150. So do as much as you can, but it's not important to do the questions only. It's important to read the topics. So it's aim for reading the topics as well and learning the topics, so that in the next question you can attempt the question without reading the topic. And what was the other question? Sorry, Apu, I forgot.
The other question was, did you try to find out your weak points or weaknesses and then target it?
Yes, I tried to find out what is harder for me. And in GP Academy, in our time, they started a new approach which was called Academic Queue, where you can actually filter out your topic, your question, or your topic of interest, where you are where you might need to study more. Suppose you don't know much about PCOS, you can just write PCOS, and all the questions regarding PCOS will show up, and then you can study. So I definitely kept a track of my weaker areas, and then I studied in Academic Queue.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
And I have a question here. Somebody asked, what is the name of the online group, if there is any, that they can?
That's GP Academy.
So it's an online study group.
It's an online paid study group.
Okay, paid study group.
Yeah, it's a course. It's a paid
if I
course.
can add here.
Sorry, Dr. Rifat, I couldn't hear you.
Are you able to hear me now?
Yes, it's much better now.
Sorry. Yeah, I think I'm having some issues on my side, but RACGP exam toolkit has a resource there for the study partners. It's if you go, like, I know GP probably GP Academy is a good resource, but RACGP in exam toolkit there is an option of study partners, so you can go actually and post for study partners there. And people with who are interested as well to study on the same frame, they usually then post back and you can connect with them. Absolutely. So there's another way to get there. So if somebody is not doing GP academies, they can use that resource as well.
Okay, that's great. So yeah, because they are RACGP examining all of them, it's easier to connect with them through that as well.
Absolutely, yes.
Through the RACGP website, you mean?
Website, yes.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. And there was the last question. I think after that we can wrap up if there is no further question from the audiences. There was another question of what was your revision timeline in the final 8 to 12 weeks before the exam? Did you shift from learning new content to pure practice, or did you just revise? Who is going to answer this question about the last 8 to 12 weeks before the exam? Did you shift your learning modalities for new content only, or just recapping
If I take this, I'll just adjust my volume here. I think for the last, for any exam, I would say for the very last bit, there's nothing new to learn actually. What you have learned is in the beginning days of the preparation, though. I would say main preparation is, I would absolutely suggest to ongoingly seeing the patient as well. At no points I would suggest to stop seeing patient and devote only into your studies. Obviously, if you are making your own notes and if you've got the resources, you can probably revise. And most of the candidates that I've seen, and including myself as well, for the very last 2 to 3 weeks, they usually take their annual leave. And that's a good, and I think a good way to finish up and wrap up and final revisions as well. Probably at the very end, I wouldn't suggest to go through any new topics and that sort as well. And most of the topics actually are covered at the beginning days.
Yeah.
And again, if you ask the registrar who have done the exam recently, they would say, I know the topics, but it is the how they are presented to you as well, and whether you are able to get that done. So topics are not a concern. It's about getting to know the common presentation very well and able to answer them in a timely manner as well, which is the challenge a lot of the time.
Thank you. And did you sit any mock exam or practice? I might ask the recent registrars who are in training pathway. Did you sit any mock exam or practice under timed conditions? And how far from the real exam did you start doing that?
I did. So from RACGP, they will send a question as well for mock exam, and it's advisable to do it sooner than later. But I think I did it quite late. And then because I was doing a paid course, so there were 2 mock tests from GP Academy as well, and I think I finished it 1 month before sitting the actual exam, and it was definitely a timed condition, a timed exam. And around that time, I started practicing under timed condition, exam condition actually, and that helps.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, because it is timed in the practical exam, so
it is
better
timed,
to practice
and
with
it is timed that
situation.
patient that the candidates will struggle with in the exam.
That's absolutely right. Okay, so the last question, I think all of you can actually answer this one, one after the other. Looking back, what's the one thing you tell a registrar starting their prep year today that you wish someone had told you? So maybe starting with Dr. Tasmia, I would ask you to answer this. What is the one good suggestion?
One good suggestion from me would be making a realistic plan. What might work for you may not work for another person, and what might work for me may not work for you. So make your plan realistic to your goal and your circumstances and stick to it.
Thank you.
That's it.
Thank you. I think, that's the thing to do. And Dr. Rifat Arakan, what would you say in one sentence for the trainees for the exam?
Absolutely. I would say keep pressing it hard. And not every week would be same. Some of the weeks you may not be able to study at all because of the pressure from the, seeing patient, abusive patient, difficult patient, your assessment and that sort. But I think persistence is what is the key. So have the plan and make sure you're following the plan as well. And at the very beginning, set up a date where you want to prepare for the exam as well. That gives you a target, and that helps as well.
Thank you so much. And lastly, asking Dr. Nadira Jishanara, what's your one sentence suggestion for the examinees?
As I said before, I'll just repeat the same thing because most of the thing already said by Tasmia and Dr. Rifat. So if you have some time in your hand when you are not actively studying with your study partner, just open up whatever you have read before and try to revise it. It will really help you and take you forward. And the other thing that I did and I would suggest to do as well, that's if you can take small notes for the topics that you are not very familiar with and not very comfortable with, so that just before the exam you can just have a look once again and keep some information in your brain before your exam.
Thank you so much. By this, I'll wrap up our tonight's webinar. But I would particularly want to thank our presenters, Dr. Tasmia, Dr. Rifat, and Dr. Nadira, for their valuable information, very practical tips that is going to help our examinees. And thank you for all attendees who actually watched our tonight's webinar on the RACGP exam preparation. I would like to ask you, to our attendees and everybody, to let us know what topics you want to hear from us next, from our GPs and, from our speakers, what you'd like to hear. Please email us at info@bgpaa.org. And we will also create a WhatsApp group for the examinees in future to help them, and they can ask questions and get help and answers from the very experienced GPs, GP supervisors, and recent trainees. So thank you all for being with us tonight, and thank you, Dr. Sajidul Islam, as well from the background. You help us doing tonight's webinar. Everybody have a very good night, and stay with us. Stay connected. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Good night.
Thanks.